I have class A and I have class B and I have class C. Now, when I have been um, extended in terms of the inheritance, when I have been extended, I have a method called sum. I have a method called sum, and I have when I try to call this particular sum method in the C, the compiler doesn't understand that which compiler it need to come. So whether it is coming from here or here, we don't know about this. So that's the reason this is not possible. Now, that's the reason they introduced a concept called interfaces. Now, with this particular interfaces, how they will be achieving this. So this is what we wanted to understand, right? Now, there are three types when it comes to the Java. Now, in terms of class, okay. So the definition of the class, we will be giving it, right? Class, this is the class A or class B. In the syntax, we'll be writing on this one, right? So that particular classes will be writing. Apart from this classes, we will be having interfaces and we will be having abstract classes. What is this thing? The difference between these three things we need to understand, because now when you are creating a particular class, now class is nothing but it's a combination of having variables and the methods. It's like a bag where you can keep all those things and then we'll be using on it. Now, when it comes to the interfaces, now what is an interface and the implementation of this one? First of all, you need to understand. Anyways, at the end of the day, I'll explain you how this particular problem is solved. I'll talk about it. But first of all, you need to know what exactly it will be there in the class, in these particular interfaces. Now, when you see here, now this is what my class, right? See what I'm writing? Public class I'm writing. And then I'm writing this class. Now here, when I'm trying to do it, okay, now let me create one more package. Okay, and package name com.training dot dot enter fixes. Okay, now usually what I'll try to do, I try to comment this. I don't know what is this error. Let me go to this package, and I wanted to previously I used to add the classes. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to add an interface, right? So previously I used to add the class, right? Now interfaces. So now just you can write this one as it's a demo, right? Interfaces underscore demo. So as soon as I have been created this one, now you can see it. It is coming as a public interface. So previously what it used to come? Public class it used to come. Okay. Now here what I'm trying to get? I'm getting the public interface. Now here you can see it's a Java simple J it is displayed. Here you can see here J with I it is displayed. Means this is Java interface. So this is Java class. This is Java class. Now this is Java interface. Now this interface, it starts with public, means it can be accessed by anyone, and interface. So previously it is used to come as class. So now here I used to get the any means the particular name as a class, but here I'm getting it as an interface. So that is the first basic difference which you need to identify. Now in this particular classes, we define this particular variables and we define these particular methods. Now in the interfaces also, I can do the same thing. So for example, now I wanted to define this particular interfaces, right? Now let me take this particular interface uh, as let me take as an example as RBI. So because the banks and everything, it's easy to take a good examples, right? Let me take on this one. Okay. So as I change this particular name of this one, by default the class file name, the interface name also need to be changed. Now what you can see here, so this is an RBI. means the Reserve Bank of India. So just for an example, I wanted to take multiple banks and everything, so then I can implement on it. Or else, rather than this RBI, I can take another bank, right? So HDFC. Just for your example, so that you can easily understand. So because all we know, right? So now completely we would be having a head of RBI, so Reserve Bank of India, and under this particular bank we will be having SBI, we will be having HDFC, and we will be having ICICI. Like all banks will be having it. So now let me have these particular banks, three banks, and then have the RBI name. So as part of this one, so first I wanted to create this HDFC bank. Okay, so let me change this to this one, and same way let me create four different banks. So now four interfaces I wanted to do: HDFC, ICICI Bank. Okay, now let me create another interface. I have created the SBI Bank. Okay, now I have created three interfaces: interface HDFC, ICICI, SBI. Okay, till here any question? So I didn't created the class, I created the interfaces. Now in the HDFC, what I'll try to do is I wanted to create a method called method. We will be using withdraw, right? So deposit, withdraw, two methods we will try to create on this. Now what I wanted to do it. So here so one important thing which you need to know is I wanted to try to create a method now. So in the method in the interfaces. Now when I have been trying to create this particular method, what is error method it was trying to show? Abstract method doesn't specify body. So from here, the first pointer which you need to understand, let me create one class to have the notes of all these things, because we need to know the complete notes, right? So that's where I wanted to get. Let me create this as an RBI, means Reserve Bank of India. So underscore head. So because this is a head, right? I'll create all this one. Now I'll write the notes here so that it will be easy for you to take a screenshot and remember. First thing is interfaces declaration is different from the classes. See, this is what first we have seen it, right? This is a class and this is an interface. So the interface keyword will be used it, right? So that is what I'm trying to say over here. Okay, interfaces declaration is different from the class, where we use interface keyword. Okay, and we will be having I symbol on the file. So these are the two differences which we see in it, right? Now, third difference. Now, when I started to create a method, see now when I have been created, this is how I create the method, right? When I have started to create this method, it is trying to say that hey, abstract methods only. Abstract method doesn't specify a body. What do you mean by abstract method? What do you mean by abstract method?
Unimplemented method.
See, when you don't define the body for a method, then this is called an abstract method. Means, first of all, you need to understand this is declaration of a method, right? So you're defining a method. Declaration means you're defining with a name, void, and the method name and all. Implementation starts from this particular parenthesis to this parenthesis, right? So from this braces to this braces, we can do the implementation. But in the interfaces, we shouldn't have this particular implementations at all. So these are called unimplemented methods or abstract methods. Abstract methods or unimplemented methods are nothing but they will not have the body or they will not have the implementations. So just you will be defining that particular declaration of the method. So now I have a method called withdraw. Now withdraw. It's the same way. What else? The other methods you can be using for the HDFC. Okay, you would be doing with deposit, right? Deposit, withdraw, deposit. Now what else we can do? There are a lot of other things, right? So now we can do the fixed deposit. Whatever the things we have it, we can do this. Now in HDFC, I have another program called fixed deposit program, right? Fixed deposit in the HDFC, they're giving it with price of 7% FD, okay, with 7%. So this is what the three methods which I have it in the as part of this particular HDFC. Okay, so now what I have defined is, hey, I created an interface. In this particular interface, I have been created three methods. The three methods means when I wanted to define these particular methods, these are unimplemented methods only or abstract methods only I can define. So now what I'm trying to say is only abstract methods will be declared in the interfaces. Got it? So now this is the third point which we have been discussed. So now in this particular HDFC, I have been defined these particular methods. Plus, there is what the point? So if you don't have the implementation, then what I need to do with this? For doing this implementation, you should require a class, right? Now that is a class which we have been taken with the RBA. Now I wanted to do the implementation, right? So now for HDFC, I have complete abstract methods, but I wanted to implement with the RBI, right? Now what I need to do, I need to go to here, RBI. Previously here, what I need to do, I used to use the extend keyword, right? Now here I'll be using the implements keyword. So once I use the implement keyword, now what class I wanted to implement here? HDFC, right? So that particular HDFC bank I have been implemented. Now, what do you mean by implementing? Because by name itself, you are trying to understand, right? Implementing. So this particular method is not implemented. These three methods are there. It is not implemented. Now I wanted to do the implementation. Now that is where I have been brought up this particular class to do the implementation. Actually, there is one shortcut class. So now if you see here, as soon as I just see now I didn't do anything. So now as I kept the implementation, okay, implementation, immediate implements with the HDFC man, it thrown me an error. Let me hover that one. See, what is that error message? Add unimplemented methods. Click on add unimplemented methods. You see it? By default, these are the three methods which have been used, right? In the HDFC bank, these are the three methods, right? Unimplemented methods. By default, it will pull me to add these particular methods over here. See, this is by, so now this particular SYSO, I am default main method from RBI, right? RBI class. RBI is only class which we have been implemented. Now, if you see here, these are the methods, right? Now, these methods, now SYSO, from where it is coming from?
HDFC.
Coming from HDFC interface, right? So now it is coming from the HDFC. The same thing, Control D, copying this, Control V. So this is deposit. This is FD with 7%. Can you see it? Now, when I have been implemented, so this particular class implementing this interfaces uses the implements keyword. So let me note that when we implementing the interfaces, we will use the implements keyword. Okay, this is what the first thing we have been done, right? When we try to do this one, so this particular implements keyword, we are using it here. Okay, this is the first step. Next, what we have done? What we have next? What we need to note?
And implemented all unimplemented methods.
So now, as soon we have been added, we got the error method here, saying that boss, first you implement all the unimplemented methods. It's now one question here. Can I implement only 2 methods here? See now, because there are 3 unimplemented methods in the HDFC. Now, can I only implement, because I don't only want withdraw, not all other things. Can I implement with this?
No,
See,
sir. No, sir.
it is showing that add unimplemented methods. Now, what you need to remember is, it's mandatory that all the unimplemented methods need to be implemented in the class. No partial payments. We will have it right in the banks. Same way, no partial implementation is allowed. Always you need to remember, this is very, very important. See, if I have 2 methods or 3 methods, I have 3 methods, unimplemented methods in an interface. When you are implementing that, all the 3 methods you need to implement. If I have 100 methods,
100 we have to implement.
that's it. If you have 100, you need to implement 100. So this is the advantage or disadvantage. You think about it. But still, if I have number of methods, how many methods are there? So when you are trying to implement any interface, that particular interface, how many methods are there? All those particular methods need to be implemented in the class. There is no exemption for this. So now, previously what we used to do, so we used to create an object and then access them and execute them, right? But here what we are trying to do, first of all, was in the HDFC, I don't have the implementation. What exactly it need to do, we don't know. So that is what we have been doing here. Okay. So first what we have done, we have been defined the all unimplemented and abstract methods. And once we have this abstract methods, we are calling them and doing the implementation in this particular class. Class, we have been implemented them. And once after this particular implementation, we wanted to execute them. Now, what type of methods are this? What type of methods is it? Non-static methods. Now, if I wanted to execute them, what I need to do?
We need to create the
object.
So now what I'll try to do is, I'll create an object for this one. Okay. So now, obj RBI. Now when I have been given this one, so now I have been created the object for this. Now with this particular object, okay, can I access this particular methods now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We
Yes,
can.
sir. All methods.
So now when I have been seen this one, see, you can see it, RBI, FD 7%. Okay, same way. Now I'll be creating that particular object. Okay, this, what are the other methods? Deposit, and with this, with all these methods. Okay. So now I'll let you actually why it is asking to do this one. I'll let you know later. Let me do this. Okay, so I just created that particular an object, and I'm trying to access this. Okay, now when I start to execute this one, you can see this. What it was trying to do.
It execute
So
all the
now,
methods.
so now
Whatever
first it
what
started to print that. So I'm the default main method, and it was saying that withdraw deposit FD. It has been done. Till here, did we understand everything? And here just I created the object, and then I have been accessed this particular three methods. Previously in the HDFC, I do have all unimplemented methods. Now what I have done is I have been created here in the class. I taken then and implemented it, and then implementation means whatever the things which I want to do it. So I have been did in this particular braces, plum braces. I have been done that, and then I kept it. So till here, are we clear? This is the first part of the interfaces. Means what we understood is what is an interface. The interface can be defined with the interface declarations. Once we declare this one, so this will be having I symbol on this. And then in interface, I can define only the abstract methods. Abstract methods and final variables. So final, I didn't talk about it, right? So that's the reason I didn't talk about it. But when we go for final keywords, we'll be talking about it. Now, when we implement the interfaces, we will be using the implements keywords. And it is mandatory that if you have 10 methods, all the 10 methods need to be implemented when you have been implements that particular interface. And no partial implementation would be available. Means if you have 10, I can use only 3 or 4, it will not allow you to do that. So that is what I have did. And then I have been created the object, and whatever the implementation have been done, I have been accessed with it. So now we can create an object with the class which we implemented we can create an object with the class which we implemented, and access all the implemented non-static methods. See, if you have been defined the static method here, then public static method I have been given it. Then public static void withdraw deposit transaction. Just another method which I wanted to do it. Transaction. Now this method I have been created here. What is the error method it is showing to me?
For static method, we have to The body also we have to have, sir.
Why?
Because
Actually, I don't know. When I try to do a static method, it's shown there, sir.
Okay, let me do one thing. So I don't want to confuse you at this point of this with this particular static methods. Um, Let me go ahead with the non-static only, because if I talk about this one, it might lead you to the confusion. Let me go ahead with it. Later on, I'll talk about the static. So as of now, we'll go with the non-static methods, non-static variables. When it goes to the static, I'll let you know. That's a simple change only. If you understand this concept, understanding that one would be not a big deal. Okay. Fine. So till here, these pointers we have been written, right? Any questions? Are we clearly understand or any questions still here? If you clear, then I'll go for the next point. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me, all this time we have been played uh, with this particular HDFC, right? Now, let me go for the ICICI Bank. So now, in the HDFC, I have these three methods, right? I'll take these particular three methods, and I'll come to here, ICICI Bank. I have these particular methods, same methods: withdraw, deposit, FD. Now, let me take this ICICI Bank, go to the RBI, and in the RBI, this one, you see, what I'm thinking is, if I given this example, it might confuse you directly, because
So
as I
one
keep
thing,
the
sir, can I?
implementation in the same file, so it would be creating application for, rather than me doing this one, I should have been done it in a different way so that it would be easy for you to understand. Okay, let me take with the same one example itself, and then I'll give you with the multiple examples. Okay, so combination of this ICICI, I can do that when I'm sure, but what you will be getting collision is, you'll be getting the collision of the implementations, and you'll be getting a slightly confused over it. Let me bring that particular joining in the later part. First, let me take you through another, I'll directly jump into the topic so that it will be easy for you. Now, what I wanted to do here is, after this one, so means bringing from the two interfaces that I showed in the later part. Okay, just hold on for that particular later part. Now, let me first explain you on the same file from the point of interface. Okay, now I wanted to create an object for interface. Let's try to create an object for the interface now. So now HDFC is an, what is this HDFC Bank is an
Interface.
interface, right? Now let me create an object for this. Obj HDFC equal to, okay, new HDFC. So now when I start to create this one, it was throwing me some error. Now what is that particular error? It was saying we cannot instantiate the type for HDFC Bank. It's what? So for a class, you have the default constructor. Whether you create it or not, by default it is there. But for the interfaces, we will not have the this particular constructor. So the most important point for an interface, we cannot create an object. Why? Because there is no constructor for an for an interface. Got it? So you can't create an object reference for this, for interfaces. For interfaces. Because there is no constructor for this interface. Now, what is the purpose of the interface? What is the purpose of the interface?
To create the object.
So when you're creating an object, it gives you that, hey, how much space it required, and it means with the help of new keyword that allocates that particular memory in the heap. But now for this particular interface, I can't create any particular object. Now, if you wanted to create an object for this one, I need to someone who can provide me this one, right? Someone need to provide me the space. So who will be doing that one? A class can do. Now this class has been implemented, this HDFC, right? Can I take this particular class help to create that one? If I take this one and if I kept this, what is this? What is this here?
This is the class name. RBI head is the
Class
class
name.
name.
Constructor.
This is constructor. Always when I written this on the right hand side, you should say this as a constructor. If it is on the left hand side, then you can say that it's a class name. This is constructor. After new, it is following means constructor. Now, what it was trying to do, it is trying to allocate a new memory with this particular class, with this particular RBI class, whatever the memory it have, that particular memory will be taken, means will always it will be having with the constructor. With the help of this one, it is trying to create a memory for this. Now, can I, so now as soon as I created this particular object, can I access these methods?
Yes, sir.
So now you see it. See? So what I have done is very simple. Okay, don't get confused. I'm creating the object for the interface. Object reference for the interface. How to create the object reference for the interfaces? With the help of the class, which we have been implemented. With that particular implementation, I'm trying to call these particular methods, and then I'm able to execute on this. What we can do with this, and what, because why we need to have this particular object. With this particular object only you can do this. Let me give you one more example here to make it very clear, you to understand this particular topic very clear. Now this is the class, right? For this class, do you have any methods? Do you have any methods for RBI head?
No, sir.
As of now, these all methods we are getting it from this particular interface, but it won't have its own methods. Let me create one more method here. Okay, I wanted to create a method called monitoring. So RBI monitors, right? Monitoring. Okay. And I have another method also. I'll be creating this one as governing. Always RBI also do the governing part, right? Now what I'll try to do, okay? This is simple non-static methods, right? Now, can I, anyways, I created this particular object, right? Can I call this particular methods with this object? Yes or no?
No,
No, sir.
no, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no?
Yes,
Some
sir.
people are saying no,
Yes,
some
sir.
people are
Yes,
no.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
For
Yes.
this particular class, I created non-static methods. When I created an object with that one, can't I access those methods?
You can access.
Yes, you can access, sir. RBI do can access.
Monitoring and then governing. Done. Now, this particular object, when I'm trying to create, this is an interface object reference. With this particular space we have been given it. With this particular object, can I access this two methods?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
Why?
It's a child class.
It's not a child class, it's an interface. It's not inherited. We can't call this as a child. We implementing this particular interface. Now, whatever the methods are belonging to the HDFC, those methods only can be accessible by this particular object, but not the methods of this particular RBI class. Okay, let me give you some more clarity here so that you can understand clearly. Now, I have class A, okay, class A, I have 5 methods, and interface B have 3 methods. Now, when class A implements class B, implements means itself it's a class, means B is an interface. Now, when I implemented this 3, when I created the object for class A, okay, now with this particular class A, how many objects I can access?
5 methods.
8. 8, sir. 8, sir.
When I created the object for the class A, I can access 5 plus 3. But when I'm creating the object reference for the interface, I can't directly create the object reference for this interface. Now, what I need to do, I take the help of class A. Now, with this particular object, how many methods I can access?
3, sir.
3, sir.
Only 3, because
3.
based upon this interface, even though this class have the capacity, but still, as this is created based upon this interface, you can access only 3 methods. Let's see, this is a very, very important topic. If you see here, the complete Selenium runs around this. So, class B, okay, so interface B, with this particular object reference, you can access only the 3 methods which it is there. But when we have been creating the object reference for this class, you can access all 8, 5 plus 3. Now, let's drill down into some more details. Now, this is my heap memory, because my object would be created in the heap memory. Now, when I created this particular class, so now I have this particular memory where 5 methods by default, it occupies that particular space. Example, it taken 100 KB. Now, with this particular 3 new methods implementation, which it takes 50. So overall, 150 KB is allocated in the heap memory. When I created the object 1, and you consider this as an object 2. For OBJ, when I created 1, it created 150 KB, and out of 150 KB, means with this one, I can access OBJ1, I'm able to access all 8 methods. Till here, is it clear? In heap memory, when I created this particular object, this particular constructors will say that, hey boss, 5 methods your own, you're having it, which it occupies 100 KB, and 3 methods which you have, So you have 50 KB. So that for creating of this particular object, it required 150 KB. It given that information, new keyword created that particular memory in the heap. So now obj1 in the heap, which it occupies 150 KB. Clear? Now I wanted to create for the obj2. Now how much space it will be taken to create the object here? Option 1, 100. Option 2, 50. Option 3, 150. Option 4, nothing would be created. Okay, A, B, C, D. What is the answer?
50, sir.
Option C, 150.
50, sir.
Ping me in the answer in the chat. For typing one letter A or B or C something, so how much time it will take? Print quickly. Option A, option B, option C, option D. That's it. All pinked. Why only few pinked? So what happened for the remaining? To give the answer, whatever the option you wanted to select all, is it not possible for you? Once again, I'm repeating the question. In the heap memory, I created two objects, means class A object and with the interface object, obj1 and obj2. Now, when I created this particular class A, it is able to access all 8 methods, whatever the 5 methods of its own and 3 methods which it is implemented. Now, obj2, so it can access only 3, as this is an interface, whatever the specific methods of that interface is only created with that. So now, how the memory management works internally. Now, when I created this particular object, so with the help of new keyword, it allocates the memory, and class A will gives me the option saying that, hey, it required 150 KB. So that's because it occupies 100 for this particular 5 and 50 for 3. So 150. So now overall 150 will be required. So that when we created obj1 in the heap memory, it requires 150 KB. Now, when I created the object 2, how much space it's required to create in the memory? So option 1, 100, 50, 150, or no space is required to create it. So which option is this? So here I'm seeing that particular options B and C. 50 or 150.
Sir, I have a doubt here. In the initial stage, the memory of the first the class RBI will be 100 because RBI alone is given 100 memory in the heap, and that 50 belongs to the interface. So only if we use implements, will the heap memory allocate 150? And if we do not if we do not use implements, it will be only 100 for class RBI. So when we create the object with the help of class RBI, will we have 100 as the memory? I'm confused, sir, now, because
Okay.
how
See,
to calculate the memory before implements or after implements?
so there is no confusion. It is pretty simple. Now, this is heap memory and this is my object. Before implementation, okay, I have 5 methods, which it takes 100 KB. Before implementation, means I have 3 methods to be implemented. Then after implementation, it comes for 150. This is before and this is after. What's the confusion here? Simple, right?
Sir, but when we are creating an object for the interface with the help of the class RBI, how will it consider the after scenario or the before scenario? Will it take 100 or 150?
Don't get too much
Because
confused, Durga. Understand? If I remove this one, now at 100.
yes, sir.
Now 150.
Yes, sir.
That's it, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
before 100, after 150.
Yes, sir.
It's before implementation, after implementation.
So when I mean, yes, sir.
Okay, you relax and digest it. So it takes a little time to understand about it. It's okay. Now here, many of the people given me the answer B and C. See, this part, and this part, is it same?
No, sir.
No.
This part, is it same?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very, I was really surprised. If this part and this part is same, then why here it is 150 and here it is 50?
In both cases, it will be 150, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
here what it was trying to saying that new and the class A. So now what is the class A capacity? It can have the 8. So now it will come for the 150, right? Why it will come for 50? It doesn't really matter what you're doing on your left hand side. It is just an object reference. Where this particular object you're going to call. That is what you're trying to do. Right? With obj1 you're calling, obj2 you're calling. But this is completely the memory management, right? Allocation of the memory and creation how much space it requires. By default, it will say 150. Even though if it is having 150, it uses only 50. Remaining 100, it is wasted. You can't call the class which you have been implemented for the interface, those methods, when you created this particular object references, so this particular space is wasted. Only the 50 which you have been created, because the interface can call only the methods which it have that unimplemented methods. It can call the implemented methods from here, but the space it occupies it's 150 only, because you see these are same. There is no difference in this, right? So this is how the memory management will work, and this is how you can see that this is where you can clearly understand that whatever the methods it is belongs to this particular interface, only those methods can be accessed. Other methods can't be accessed by this particular interface, because it is not authorized to access this, because it not belong to this. Now, but whereas here, these two methods are belongs to this particular own class, RBI class, and these are the 3 methods which it can bring in from the interface, and as it implemented them, it can be accessed by here. So this is how this particular interface will work on. If I created that particular method for the class, and if you wanted to access them, so if you created the object for that particular class, you can access its own methods plus interface methods. But the interface, if you created the object reference with the interface, it can access only those interface methods only. Did you got the point?
Yes, sir.
So once again, I'm writing here, and this is very, very, very important. See, and explaining the interfaces also, it's not a simple task. See, many a times, so because if I mixed with multiple things, it might be confusing you. So that's the reason I just wanted to come one by one. So now let me add those particular pointers also. Object reference, which we created for the implemented class, it can access its own methods and also implemented methods too. Now, next pointer, object reference, which it created for the interface with the help of the implemented class okay. Let me write what object references can be created for an interface with the help of implemented class. With this object interface object reference, we can access only the interface methods. Got it? So now when this particular object reference, which we have been created for the implemented class, it can access its own methods and also implemented methods. Now the object reference, you wanted to create it for interface, which it is not possible, but with the help of implemented class, we can create it. So now when we created this particular object reference can access only the interface methods only. These are very, very important pointers from the interfaces. So now you need to drill down the essence. Now for an example, now yesterday you implemented, so that's the reason you are able to say this one. Can you say the same thing after 1 week, 10 days, 3 months, 6 months? Always you need to remember that. Write these notes. Now when you see after 1 year also, you can, when you read these particular notes, it will be easy for you to remember for a longer time. Okay. Now still did we overcome our problem? No. Because still we are understanding. See, first of all, what you need to understand is with a single interface and a class, with a single interface and a class, you need to understand. Then you will understand the multiple interface and a class. See, now this is what you wanted to achieve, right? This is what you wanted to achieve. Now what we have completed is, we have been completed only the interface with a class we have achieved. Now what we need to achieve is multiple classes with the interface. This is what the thing next we are going to implement. We achieved only this. But there are a lot of terms and conditions for this this particular interfaces. That is where I first started with one link and explained you all these things. Now I'll bring up the same thing. Now RBI HDFC we have done, right? Now RBI HDFC with this thing also, I'll be ICICI also will be explained. Did you got this or any more questions till here? I know that there will be a lot of questions here, but unless you implement this, okay, you will not get that. And always you need to remember one thing. When I ask the question, open the Google and then read out what you see there. It really doesn't make me any difference. What sites you're referring when you open and then telling me, those all things also I know it. There is no point of doing that. Rather than that, prepare and come to the session so that it will be easy for you and me, right? And if you've gone through the video for that 54 minutes, which I have been created earlier, that's the simplest video of the interfaces. If you've gone through that particular video, that will be much more easier for you to understand on this particular interface, right? That means you're not spending the time, just directly coming to this session, and don't feel me that I'm like a radio jockey talking something and then going away. So first you go implement and then come back for the next day sessions. Go see the videos and then come back for the next sessions. That makes the difference. It's not this all. However, I don't want to overload with a lot of stuff. I wanted to see the same implementation as whatever I have been done in this way. So now you need to implement and play around this and then come back on Monday. Now, as we discussed, the second part of this